provisions of Virginia Freedom of Information Act as required by Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia, and certified that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered.
Okay, we have a motion. We need a second,
I
please.
second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Vote, please. Okay, motion carried. At this time, we are, on the next part of our agenda is the appointment of the Windsor representative. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a move that the school board appoint Mr. Michael Vines to serve as the Windsor District Representative to the Wight County School Board.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Vote, please.
Y'all seen that come up?
No.
I can close them or open. Okay, hers came up. Yours.
You want to do a verbal vote?
No, hers
There it
came up.
is.
Oh, okay.
It just popped up.
Okay, 2 yes, 1 nay. Motion carried. So at this time, I'll read the resolution filling vacancy on the school board. Whereas Ms. Julia Perkins was elected from the Windsor District of Isle of Wight County to serve a term on the Isle of Wight County School Board commencing January 1, 2020. And whereas Mrs. Perkins resigned as the Windsor District Representative effective October 14, 2021, creating a vacancy on the Isle of Wight County School Board from Windsor District. And whereas because the vacancy occurs within 90 days of the next general election in November 2021, the school board has filed a petition with the Circuit Court of Isle of Wight County requesting that it enter a writ of election for the second ensuing general election to be held in November 2022 to elect a member of Isle of Wight County School Board from the Windsor District to serve for Mrs. Perkins' unexpired term, namely through December 31, 2023. And whereas 24.2-228 of Code of Virginia requires the school board to appoint a qualified voter of the Windsor District to serve as the representative from that district on the school board until the voters fill the vacancy by special election and the person so elected has qualified for the office. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the school board hereby appoints Michael Vines, a qualified voter of Windsor District, to serve as the representative from the district on the school board until the voters fill the vacancy by special election and the person so elected has qualified for the office. Okay, at this time, we need to appoint the Hardy representative. We need a motion.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we appoint Mr. Michael Cunningham to fill the opening in the Hardy District for the Isle of Wight County School Board until December the 31st, December the 31st, 2021.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. It has been second. Vote, please. Okay, motion carried. Resolution filling vacancy on the school board, whereas Mr. Alvin Wilson was elected from the Hardy District of Isle of Wight County to serve a term on the Isle of Wight County School Board commencing January 1, 2018, and whereas Mr. Wilson resigned as the Hardy District representative effective October 26, 2021, creating a vacancy on the Isle of Wight County School Board from the Hardy District, and whereas 24.2-228 of the Code of Virginia authorizes the school board to appoint a qualified voter of Hardy District to serve as the representative from that district on the school board until the voters fill the vacancy and the person so elected has qualified for the office. And whereas Mr. Michael Cunningham was elected in November 2021 to serve as representative of the Hardy District on the Isle of Wight County School Board commencing on January 1, 2022. And now therefore be it resolved that the school board hereby appoints Mr. Cunningham as qualified voter of Hardy District to serve as the representative from the district until Mr. Cunningham's term officially commences on January 1, 2022.
Madam Chair, did the board vote on the resolution?
We did not vote on the
I
resolution.
think make sure we vote on both resolutions, okay?
We're
Okay?
gonna do a verbal vote. So you wanna do, we'll do the Michael Vines one first for the Windsor district. So I just need a motion.
Yes, let's make a motion to approve the resolution.
I second
This
that
one.
motion.
So
Okay.
who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Okay, Carr, and then Dial. Okay, and I need a verbal, Ms. Dial,
Yay.
Ms. Carr?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and now we'll do a motion for the Hardy, resolution.
I'll make the motion that we approve the resolution filling the Hardy District with Mr. Michael Cunningham.
Second?
Okay, and a verbal?
Yes.
Dial, Carr,
Yes.
and Tynes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the proposed revision to the school year 2021-2022 calendar.
Yeah, so, Madam Chair, I'm sure you're aware, looking at VSBA news around our area and around the state, mental health is a concern with employees across the state, and it's hitting teachers extremely hard due to the lack of substitute teachers in our division and really across the state. So teachers are required to have a planning period, and they are now covering because we have no one else to cover. We've looked at hiring more aides. We haven't filled all of our aide positions. So, I mean, there's a major shortage in everything that we have. So with that in mind, we were recommending that we give November 22nd and 23rd of Thanksgiving week, which is the Monday and Tuesday, off, because the rest of the week is off for Thanksgiving break. Basically to look at the teachers are burnt out, they're exhausted, mentally and physically drained. And when they are that way, they're not probably performing at their best. And also, you know, in tonight's agenda, I'm asking for a stipend for them as well. And the money is good, and we need to pay them. But the mental stress is why we're recommending the days off. So with that, we're asking the board to consider that. So the days are November 22nd, 23rd, and also January 3rd is a student, as a student holiday. Right now, we come back January 23rd. What we're saying is, let's have just teachers come back for a work day on January 3rd, so that they get back from the holiday, can get in their classrooms, get ready to start. And January 31st is already a staff workday, and all I'm saying there is let them work from home that day.
I have a question as to, so are we going to add these other days on? My concern is, I don't want to lose credibility with the parents. And when the calendar was formed, everybody had a vote, is that correct? Teachers, like all stakeholders had a vote in the calendar, is that right?
They give input into it, yes.
And that's what we should adhere by. And I feel like we put the agenda out, that's what we set as far as the school days. So it's just gonna, what are we gonna give in place of giving these days? Because we gave 2 days, October 29th, and then also the day after, which this is Friday. So are these days, are we in compliance with meeting the 180, and I'm not e-learning, I'm talking about face-to-face with the students. As far as education, are we meeting that as far as the state requirements?
Yeah, so we're not recommending that these are e-learning days, and so we're not counting that, where other systems may count it as an e-learning day. And so you're either 180 days or 990 clock hours, and the days we've already given, and these days, we would still have hours left if there were potential snow days. But it was a balancing act. I'll tell you, I talked to my whole executive team, and as we talk about this, it is a double-edged sword. We know our kids are behind, and we know they need to be in school. And like I said, trying to balance that with the needs of the adults who are, again, without the planning period, it's a long day to teach all day long, and then have to plan either early in the morning or when you go home at night, or you just stay longer and plan. So that's why we made the recommendation. And there's many others in the area doing the same.
And, Madam Chair, I feel if we do not do something for the teachers, they're burned out, as Dr. Thornton saying, he's the one who's really in direct contact with them because they work for him, that we're going to find more issues, in which we found some issues already this year since the pandemic, with classroom management, student behavior. Because what's happening there is that when you have teachers that are burned out, it trickles down to not just the academics, but as far as the teacher being able to control situations, certain situations in the classroom. And I'm sure the administrators will vouch for that, because I'm sure they're probably seeing a lot of students headed in their direction now to be disciplined. And I actually been keeping up with all of the school districts around us, and I think they're pretty much all of them, except those that have not met thus far, will be following along as far as giving the teachers the extra 2 days in November to help.
Did the school districts also give the October 29th and the day after Veterans Day as well?
I don't know.
Or is that just our district that did that?
I'm not sure if
In
they
some
do.
of the school districts, they do get those, something around election days, because they use the school buildings for that, so the kids are automatically off. But I can't tell you that. I just kept up with the Thanksgiving.
I know everybody seemed to have kept up with that, but didn't keep up with what we made the motion for last October. So I just, I guess I probably would have been more apt to, if we would have planned that, and that would have been those 2 days that we had already given, and that would have been for Tuesday, I think it would have been a little bit different, but yes. Yeah.
Ms. Dow, when we actually voted on that calendar and we came up with the calendar, I understand what you're saying. At the beginning of the year, we all anticipated, hopefully, the teachers coming back, staff coming back, and we will get back to some form of normalcy here. But as we're finding out, it's not happening as quick as we thought it was going to happen, because of all of the other issues that are going along with that. Because I guess we did not know what type of students were going to be coming back to us. And now we're finding out where the students are, not just academically, but we're also finding out where the students are emotionally as well as mentally. So we're finding all of these things out now. And when you get all of those things put together, it always fall back on the instructional area, which is the teacher that's in charge of it. And these teachers are being stressed out. These teachers had no idea that, they were going to have colleagues not coming back, or there was positions that are not going to be filled. But they step up to the plate as a team and say, hey, the most important thing is the children have someone in that classroom. And they stepped up to the plate. They walked into that empty spot and said, I will do my best. And this is what they're doing. In return, we have to step up to their plate and say, we hear you, we will help you.
I do. I hear
Okay.
that, and we'll help them. But continuity of care, just like you have to have continuity. And I keep hearing that the kids are behind, they're unruly, and being out even more time, to me, does not provide continuity of kids getting back to the norm. And I just think, and I support teachers. I wholeheartedly support teachers, and it's not that. But it's for the children as well. And I just feel like for continuity, having all these different breaks, I don't feel like I don't feel like that poses great for the kids, for them to keep having all these different breaks out of, 2 days there, then they have the whole week. And just, I looked at the school calendar and looked at all the days that they're going to be interrupted in their care, their face-to-face is going to be interrupted. I just, I wholeheartedly agree with the stipend, I do, and I support teachers. So I don't want anybody to say Renee does not support teachers. I support teachers, but I also support the children as well. And they are behind. The kids are behind. And I feel like, just having all these different breaks, I don't think that means well for the children.
And I understand exactly what you're saying. Students are behind. But what's going to happen if we do not give these?
But moving forward, what are we going to do? This is a nationwide problem. So moving
Yes.
forward, other than just giving days off, where are we going to be creative, especially the principals, with making it, get some of that stress off? Because you can't be, let's just keep having days off. We're going to have to come up with some creative ways, pulling from the universities and schools, trying to get them to come into the school and kind of help with that support. We're going to have to come up with other creative ways as well to be able to provide that support, because I don't think this is a problem that's going to be just right now. This is going to be a problem moving forward. So we're going to have to come up with some planning and some creative, innovative ways to kind of, get back to wanting teachers to come teach and those things. But that's just my opinion.
And this is what we're going to do, hopefully, when we go off next week to our conference. And we will be able to it'll be a state conference. And we'll be able to see our colleagues across the state of Virginia. We'll sit down with them 3 days and collaborate. Same questions you're coming up with. I was in a meeting today where I had to represent Wight County prior to going for voting rights, and those same questions came up. We're anticipating coming together, and hopefully when we leave Williamsburg from the conference, we will be able to come back to Wight County and say, this is what we're planning to do. These are the things we're going to do, put in place to help not just the teachers, but as well as the students. And hopefully get everybody back. I'm not going to ever say we're going to go back to 2 years ago, but at least get us very close as much as possible with the children learning and not a lot of the other issues. We'll be able to recruit people to come in that want to work with us and want to stay in education.
It is a hard situation that we're in. And I hear what you're saying, and I agree, and then I hear what you're saying, and I agree. The one thing that comes to my mind is a book that I read in grad school, and it's called, If You Don't Feed the Teachers, They Will Eat the Students. And I just remembered that vividly. We've got to take care of our teachers, or what you said, it does trickle down. But then you said exactly what I was feeling. You can give the teachers a week break, and then they come back, and within another week, they don't have, it's the same thing, and we can't keep giving days off. So we've got to come up with some solutions, and that's not easy for you guys to do, but we're going to have to, because our kids are behind. Our students are struggling, some more than others. But at the same time, if we do approve this break for our teachers, we've got to work to come up with some things that we can do because we can't keep, this can't be the solution every time.
No.
It just can't.
It's not an ongoing solution.
No.
And the problem's not going away right away. As people vaccinate their children and more adults get vaccinated, hopefully it helps at the school level, but it's not going away.
Well, I think too.
I would ask if I could, if you are considering it or a part of it, I would ask you to consider, to me as an administrator, the most important day on here would be January 3rd, because you're coming off of the winter break. And it's good to get back in your
It
room,
is. I
get your
agree with that.
stuff going, and take that whole winter break off, and come in and that day be ready to go for the
Well,
next day. would
Another
be,
stress for our teachers is they care about where our kids are. And they are stressed because they see that they are struggling and they're behind. And so, that's more stress on them, because you know what teachers we have. They want their students to be successful and the achievement rates to be way up there. So they're even stressed because they're not seeing the results that they want to see, and they're working so hard for them to see. So they're fighting so many battles right now.
I question, what were the other 2 days for? Is it the same exact reason why they want the extra 2 days off for because, okay, the 3rd, I get that wanting to come back. I'm still opposed to the Monday and Tuesday, and maybe give that January 3rd and then the stipend.
I think the other 2 days came from hearing that from other divisions. Like, I know Portsmouth is out there with it, Hampton, Newport News is voting on that tomorrow night. So I think that being out there, it started like spreading what is our administration going to do for
We did.
us. And we did do
We
something.
did do that.
You're right.
We
So
don't get
one
any
is
credit
a-
for doing that. We did.
And I will say, and I know Ms. Tyne shared with me too, I don't want to say no good deed goes unpunished, but we've done a lot to try to, we did our support staff and to try to get them to $15 an hour and a livable wage. And part of that was to get them to a livable wage way beyond what the law is going to require, 2026, but also to help ease with the pandemic. And then even some of those groups have asked, well, are you going to give us a stipend? And from an administrative standpoint, I'm trying to look at things with my staff, logically what makes sense. And that minimum wage is going to help Wight County for years to come. And I think that's a step in the right direction. It's not helping a lot getting employees here right now because they're still not there. They're not there signing up to work, whether it's $15 an hour, 13 or 17. But I think in the long term, we have seen some movement, and so that's good, and long term is going to be great. The $1,000 stipend, the reality is they're required to have a planning period. An aide is not required to have a planning period. They work 7.5 hours wherever they're needed by their principal. So we've tried to hit all the different areas and make sense. So that's why I said if there needs to be a compromise, I would say what makes more sense is January 3rd. And the other 2 days were more mental health.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we, let me make sure I wrote it down, that we give,
No, we're on the calendar one. not-
that's where I
Okay.
am on the calendar, that we revise the calendar to include November the 22nd and the 23rd as off days, and January 3rd, and January 31st. That was going to be
January
off
31st, you don't
anyway.
even have
Okay,
to-
okay,
you don't
so-
have to act on
So
it.
the 3 days would be November the 22nd and 23rd and January the 3rd.
I will second that motion. Vote, please. motion carried, 2 yea and yet 2 yes and 1 no. Okay, and then we want to go on to the next item on the agenda. We've discussed it some about the proposed teacher compensation.
Yes, Matt. Oops. I'm making a recommendation to compensate teachers for the additional hours, and we are recommending that all teachers receive $1,000 stipend issued to them in their December paycheck.
Okay.
All right, do we know, where are the funds coming from?
These would be CARES funds,
These
CARES
are
funds.
the funds that's coming from the government.
yes.
And these are also the same funds, if we do not use them by the end of the year, they'll go back to the local government.
No, not the CARES funds.
Not the CARES
The CARES
funds,
funds
okay.
will just roll back
Okay,
to
I got
us.
you.
They
Okay.
go back there technically, and then they come back.
And then they'll come back
Yes,
to us,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
And the
CARES funds.
reason that you're recommending this is because of the lack of planning?
The planning, yes. So they're being
Is this
pulled.
happening in the elementary grades as well?
It's being pulled for remediation and other reasons at the elementary level. Not as much for coverage, but it is happening there for coverage as well.
And right now, if I understand, if a teacher should call in tomorrow sick or whatever, we don't even have a substitute pool to
understand.
even pull from. And there is a possibility, if this is a resource teacher that didn't have a homeroom or something, they could be pulled to go into even sub-force elementary teacher.
And different schools
Yeah.
have it worse. I'll tell you, Georgia D. Tyler Middle School, we can't get a sub. Most of the subs are coming from the northern end or Newport News, and they won't travel to the southern end of the county. So it's creating a bigger hardship in some places than others, but
So teachers not getting their planning, they're having to use their before school or after school to plan. They're required to get a planning period. I mean, that's part of it all.
Workday, right?
And my question is, because it doesn't fall, the administrators don't get a planning period, but I do know, I'm talking about school administrators, they have worked, I mean, they're there before the teachers get there, and they're there after the teachers leave, and I just feel like the stress and all that they're under too, I mean, I would not be opposed to including them on this as well, the school administrators. Could that be something that we can consider?
I would, to pay for it out of CARES fund, I would have to investigate that further to see the connection, because this
Okay.
is a connection
Okay,
to CARES fund, but I'm not sure if that is.
I just know with COVID, the stresses that has come upon the administrators that they have never had to deal with before. That, it's,
I'd have to validate, like last year with the CARES fund in the first round, you could give stipends to administrators, aides, teachers.
Right.
Because you were just dealing with the pandemic in general. Now that we're back, even though it's not normal, I'm not sure that it would qualify under the CARES fund.
right, I understand. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Madam Chair, I agree with what you're saying, but in conversations I've had with Dr. Thornton the last couple of weeks about this, I feel that if we give it to the administrators, because yes, everybody's overworked. We've had quite a few people to contact us. I know I got quite a few emails and calls from instructional aides, and they were asking for the same thing. But because we were able to do this for the teachers, because they are required to have that planning period, the other staff members did not require.
And I understand
Right,
that
uh-huh.
totally. I hear you. And I just also know, as much as I appreciate the assistance, I know the hard work. When they leave work, they've left work.
Right,
Administrators, they leave work, they hadn't left
they
work.
bring it home, right?
That's all I'm saying there. So, because you don't know about the,
I can't give you an answer right
Okay.
now without checking.
all right, so do we have a motion for the proposed teacher
Um,
compensation?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve the proposed teacher compensation as presented by the superintendent.
A second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. It has been seconded. Vote, please. Motion carried.
And this is where we added the policy.
Oh, okay, that's right, we have,
yeah.
we amended the agenda to discuss policy,
Um,
KD and BDDH. Okay? Any discussion? So the,
Madam Chair,
I was gonna-
would you, I was going to say, should we have our school attorney talk about the recommended changes?
okay, because this needs to be voiced, because it does directly impact the public participation at school boards, school board meetings.
So, I think there were, so first of all, there are two changes. One to BDDH, and the other is BDDH-E, and then KD and KD-E, they're the exact same policy, they're in just different sections. For BDDH, I think the changes are more clarification than anything else, because there's not really any changes to it. The first change is just making clear that if you want to speak, you have to follow the procedure set forth under BDDH-E, which has always been the case. And the other one is just to clarify that no one is allowed to speak more than once, which has always been the case. It's been clearly stated under policy BDDH-E. I think there was some confusion about it somehow, but, you know, it's pretty clear that it says theirs, and that makes it clear. I think the substantive change will be under BDDH-E and KD-E. One is clarifying that the procedures are, you know, not recommendation. They are the school board's procedures that the school board is setting. I think that's just clarifying that language. I don't think anybody intended for this particular document to be recommendations or something that ought to be followed. No, it must be followed. It's the policy. It's set forth by the school board, and it clarifies it. I think the changes speak for themselves. The noteworthy change, though, is this. There is no longer a 30-minute limit as the policy is written, but there has to be a compromise to that, because, you know, so the compromise with that is if you are signed up to speak on the agenda, you get to speak on an item on the agenda. You get to speak during the public comment period. So you get to address the board. You have 4 minutes. I believe that's what it is. Yep. The maximum number of minutes stays the same. You get to address the board.
It was five.
Oh, it was 5. Now it's 4. And then, you know, you get to address the board during the public comments period, which is immediately, well, I don't know when, but it's typically in the beginning.
Towards the beginning.
Now, and also, if you want to address the board about other things that's not related to the agenda, you get to do it at the end. So I think that, you know, taking off the cap so that, you know, staff can present their information, et cetera. If you want to address the board, you do at the end. You still get to participate, and I think that's where those are the major changes to the BDDH-E. And then also, obviously, if you make that change, the form also changes, where you have to certify whether or not you're going to be speaking on a topic related to the agenda, or you are going to be speaking on a topic unrelated to the agenda, so Madam Clerk can know where to put you for when you speak.
So, Ms. Evans, I know you brought up some of the concerns. I think this addresses, the school board agenda in the meeting is a school board business meeting. And the public is there to watch the meeting, whether it's through the internet or here physically. And they do have an opportunity to speak to the board, but it clarifies you're speaking about the business you're conducting that night before you actually conduct it. And then anything else, I think you're still valuing
Yes.
the community input, but that's now moved till after all business is conducted. And so that you can process that and do with it what you might for future meetings or for whatever. So
But what
I
I'm
think it
reading
does make
too
sense.
is that if you want to speak on the agenda items, the request must be submitted at least one business day prior to the school board meeting. So they don't sign up, the way I'm reading it, they don't sign up that night to speak on the agenda.
Correct.
They've already looked at the agenda.
Right.
They've already decided I have something to speak on that applies to the agenda. They contact you, they are signed up, and there's no time limit. If somebody wants to speak on something that's not on the agenda, they can sign up even during the meeting if they want to. I think you said, I heard somebody say,
Yeah.
just at the, you did, you
Yes.
said, just bring it
No,
up
I
at the
think,
end.
that's not the way the
That's
policy
not
is
it.
written.
Not the way
All
it's written.
requests to speak
It's
has to
4
be
minutes.
submitted one business day beforehand.
But that's not,
All right, that's not what you had
that's
shared
not
with me.
the intentions. The intentions were, if you wanted to speak on an agenda item, because the agenda items are published, they're out there for the public prior to our meetings. And if you just say it went out today, oh, I see something I'm concerned about, well, they can call the clerk and say, I would like to speak to the board, the school board, about an agenda, an item that's on the agenda, and she'll just sign them up. Now, if there's someone that's decided to come to the school board meeting and they want to speak about something that's not on the agenda for that night, there still will be a sign-up sheet in the foyer. They'll sign up, and at that particular time, that's when they will be allotted to come up.
So we would need to make changes
Oh,
of
yeah,
the way it's written.
we can do that.
And that's what we were doing, so we
That's
could
what,
get the,
I didn't understand that.
That's the
I
way
didn't
it was.
understand the school board's intention in that regard, but that's an easy fix.
Okay, then that's what we're gonna
So is
wanna
that
do.
just fixing C then?
Yes.
1C?
Yeah,
and
one
that
C.
particular sign-up sheet is day of. Even if they know prior to day of, I want to speak, but it's not on the agenda, they can still tell the clerk that, you
Yes.
know. And normally, at the beginning of our meetings, I think
That's
Mrs. Ruick will request the sign-up sheet. Well, we can allot more time because there have been citizens come in, they're late coming in from work, traffic issues with some of the back-to-school transportation things. They have come in, they're coming in late to the meeting, so we'll just leave it out there prior to the time that, you know, we need to pull it to find out who's on the sign up for
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I would like-
there's nothing wrong with doing it that way.
Yeah.
That's an easy fix.
We just want everybody to have an opportunity if they want to speak.
I like that. Okay, we don't,
Madam Chair, would you like to,
I'll make a motion.
would you like us to alter C and make a motion? Or would you like us to fix C and you vote on this Wednesday and make it practice starting at your December meeting?
that's what I'd like
can
to
do
see,
that.
because we
Okay.
need to make
Instead
the
of you
public
trying to
aware.
alter it on the floor.
Yeah, I think it'll be easier since since the board's meeting on Wednesday, we can just do it
Right.
on
We can do
Wednesday. So the record is clean, what is being adopted.
So we'll add it, it'll have to be added as an amendment to Wednesday's meeting for you to officially vote on it. We'll make the changes and send those to you. Is that good?
Sounds good. Anybody have anything, you have anything else? Anything else? Meeting is adjourned.